G'day and welcome back to another episode of NRL Unpopular Opinions. I am your host, Ryan Cook, joining me to break down a massive weekend of Rugby League, a very exciting and close weekend of Rugby League. It's OP, Oscar Pannifex.
OP.
We're down with LPP. Yeah, you know
Not
me.
OP Diddy though. No, we don't go there, do we?
Back from a long, dusty old weekend. It's Jharal, Yow-Yeh.
Yeah, that's me, baby. Just reliving my 2000 hip-hop years on the Gold Coast at a Bucks party that I wish I never went to. I love my friends. Said no one ever.
There's a pause between that. Is that true?
Yeah, it's because I paused on purpose because I hate them now.
For dramatic effect.
I think I'm starting to realise, boys, that these are... I don't know how many left of drinking piss I've got left in me like that. Like, it's just too hard. Especially when you got two kids.
The double headers are hard, aren't they?
Oh, man.
You look like North Queensland's middle at the moment. Just exhausted, fucking holes punched through them,
Banged
beaten to
up.
death. Yeah.
I know people were punching holes in me, but it was... there were a lot of tough carries over the weekend.
Oh, not the cow's middle then.
No, definitely not.
Hip hop theme. Who did you go as?
I went as 50 Cent.
Yeah.
I wore a bulletproof vest and everything, just in case. You know what it's like. Cavalab,
Down on the Goldie. It's
caps.
not a walk in the park.
Your old stomping ground, Fog.
Yeah, it certainly was.
Really?
Yeah, I'm from the Goldie.
That's where you got that haircut.
I think you
Yeah.
just meant you go back to schoolies every year.
No, well, I do. I mean, it's good to. We have a school reunion every year. We're all toolies
that's
down
good.
there.
That's
Back to your roots.
Yeah.
Good getting.
You were in Perth last week for
Yeah,
Origin.
certainly was.
Give us a rundown of the shenanigans.
It's a very long flight. That's hell.
The flight in itself is a story I've heard.
Oh, it's not really, but I ended up sitting next to Gavin Cooper on the way over.
Oh,
Poor bugger
wow.
had to put up with me. He took most of my seat because he's a big fella. But then I was just really blown away with how much Perth brought into it. It was a full house, and yeah, it was no one called it rugby. It was all rugby league over there.
That's a win.
It was,
Not the Perth media though.
who gives a shit?
Didn't they come at us hard?
But
What'd they do?
Oh, they've written a headline or something. It said two East Coast rugby league sides play against each other. And one of them got the
Okay.
win.
Okay.
they couldn't be more tone deaf though, because there's clearly an appetite for it over
Yeah, I was
there.
gonna say.
Like there was just like everyone was out and about in their kit all week. Like every pub was full of it. Yeah, it was really, really good atmosphere. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, because they were saying there was a lot of talk saying it's definitely not going to work here and blah, blah, blah.
Nonsense.
So,
I think the Perth Bears are going to go massive. Like
Wow.
clearly an appetite for it over there, and
nice.
really excited to see how that goes.
Tough conditions too when they came out for it.
Oh,
Ooh.
dude, it was hosing. And there's like one pub out the front of that stadium, and it was just on grass. I felt like I was back at Splendor. Like it was just mud.
Pretty cool.
Discovered I had a hole in my shoe. I just had one wet sock for the whole game. Just no good.
why did you have a hole in your shoe?
Well, just in case. You never know.
Is that from your failed conversion attempts?
Yeah,
I don't-
maybe.
Did you boys see
Yeah,
our
that was
man?
pretty bad actually.
Yeah.
You look like you kick with your other foot.
I do.
For
There's a
someone
couple
who's,
left foot ones there, but there's a
No,
reason there's a reason I work here and I don't have as many NRL games
Yeah.
as you, mate. And I think it showed in that video.
but don't you play soccer?
I do. But Div 7 Pub League is hardly.
Still, you're a cricket player as well.
There's levels to this game.
You play sometime, but I didn't think you were that much of a fucking idiot. Like sports.
It's
Hey, as Beaufort
Actually, both
showed
you-
on the weekend, kicking off a tee is not an
Sorry.
easy
Yeah,
task.
yeah.
just ask
Alright.
Lomax.
Credit where it's due.
I apologise. I'm just trying to
My,
come at people from the weekend.
My cricket's a lot better than anything else, but yeah, I don't claim to be a goal kicker. I don't think I ever have.
Gerald just hates the world today.
No, I don't hate
Right.
it.
It wasn't personal.
It just
But
actually
he's
made
never
me-
been a big fan of me.
When
anyway.
I watched it, I was like, no, he's not that bad. I think you're just putting it on.
Oh, yeah, sure. Sure, yeah.
I think the footy was a bit flat too, wasn't it? Like,
Yeah,
you can blame
thank
that.
you.
You can blame
We'll
that.
take
Same ones they use that Suncorp, I think.
My
in game one.
hamstrings are like the rubber bands you find in the back of the
I think the-
pantry. Like, it's just, there's not a lot going for me.
The Penrith trainer had a crack at that ball before you had a kick. So.
Coriolis effect really plays up in Perth as well, the curvature of the earth.
Well, more content like that, please. More content like
I think that'll be coming. So yeah, now I got a shit haircut to.
Well, I was going to get into that. I know we're an audio platform, but give us a look here.
Yeah,
it's sort of
actually it's
Not only
bounced
give
back
us a
well.
look, but talk us through that.
think it
because
looks good.
You weren't happy in that bathroom.
I wasn't happy in that. It's not the first time I've been unhappy in a bathroom. Won't be the last. The punishment was to get a Carl Webb Q shaved into my head.
Yep.
And I gave Jack the clippers, and he just
Butchered you, yeah.
butchered me.
he was a bit hesitant, wasn't he? He kind of came in
Yeah,
bit
and
sheepish.
I was like, mate, if you're gonna do it, just do it properly.
Yeah, rip
and,
in.
And then he did. I thought he did a decent job, and then just went, no, I've got to shave the sides. And I tried to explain to him that if you do that, then
It's actually not that bad.
it's just white skin under there. You're gonna get nothing.
You should have practiced on your back first or something.
Oh, I've got plenty on my ass. He could have gone for. But the wog jeans are good. My hair's grown back pretty quick. It's not that embarrassing. It
That's
was
good.
we were in the lounge with all the Maroons boys after the game, and I just had my beanie on. I was fucking embarrassed as hell. But no, we're good now. It's very Reece Walsh, I reckon, at the moment.
Yeah, that's the first thing I thought when I saw you today.
I think about that every time I see you.
yeah.
You're very Reece Walsh.
Let's talk footy, boys.
Yeah, let's change the
Let's get
subject.
off him, yeah.
Enough about me.
Let's spend 10 minutes actually talking about Origin.
Now.
Bit of a moral victory, I thought, for the Blues, even though they lost that game.
Well said, Ryan.
Yeah.
Very well said.
Sweaty watch, though, if you're a Queenslander. Last, I mean, you were there, Fogs, the last, I don't know, 30 minutes.
Yeah, I
Not
went-
like we were just hanging on for dear life.
I went non-verbal. There, I was just like, not again.
ASD level 1, 2,
Oh,
3.
dude, there was just the roller coaster, just being up 26-6 at halftime, and then watching Toto and just the rest of them do whatever they want. I was like, oh god, I've seen this before.
Those 20-point leads are kind of always
Yeah,
nerve-wracking territory.
Well,
Especially in this type
This
of,
year.
you know, they could either go, obviously they'll both go either way. You think, I mean, it's in record territory if they come back and win that.
I think it was the biggest halftime lead the Maroons have ever had too.
Yeah.
Like, it was something absurd like that. I was just like, oh please, boys, this is a horror movie. But thank you, Zach Lomax.
And, I mean, from a punting perspective, our pot went quite well.
Oh,
Things
yeah.
considered.
Which was great, yeah.
So, Oscar, what did you make of the Blues? Do you want to see any selection changes? Terrell May come in, you reckon?
Look, mate, I think what Keon's been doing for Souths in the front row, given the Blues are now missing Mitch Barnett, I think Max King did a good job, but I don't think there'd be any complaints if Keon started in there. But, I mean, like, I don't think the Blues need to change their team in order to win Game 3. I just think they need to be more disciplined. Like, it was a little bit of a kind of a flip from what we saw in Game 1, where Queensland just gave New South Wales far too much possession and field position in the first half at Suncorp, and that's exactly what the Blues did to Queensland over at Perth. Whether or not Ashley Klein helped in that regard, like, there are enough of those 9 penalties that the Blues genuinely did give away.
Yep.
And then Queensland were good enough on almost every single occasion in that first half to capitalise and cash in. So I think it had a flow-on effect throughout the game, in the sense that the Blues' greatest strength in this series was their yardage game, their kicking game, and therefore the fatigue that they can put into Queensland because of those two strengths. I think they might have put boot to ball in yardage like 4 or 5 times in the first half. So Queensland never had to work it out of their own end. They never had to drain a heap of gas trying to contain New South Wales' yardage game. So by the time the second half come around, once the fatigue did start creeping in, we saw what New South Wales were able to do with the ball in play. But yeah, they just cost themselves too much in the first half.
Do you feel like the Blues kind of, I don't want to say they changed their game plan, but like Game 1, they were very disciplined, and Queensland was the one that came out swinging,
away.
wanting a bit of a fight.
Yep.
And then I felt like the roles were reversed in Game 2. Is that how you saw it?
I don't know if it was like a change in approach, or like there were just a couple of dumb penalties.
Yeah, like a mindset maybe.
Maybe a mindset thing. Maybe they thought it was going to come. I think to Queensland's credit, they started fast. Like Jharal, you said they needed to start well. I think they were up for it.
Did they ever?
Yeah, and I think the changes they made, played into their favour. If you've got, was it Holmes on the right wing in Game 1, he probably doesn't jump over Toto and score that first try.
Well,
whereas
we've been saying
Hammer
that
just goes bang.
We've been saying that's got to be part of the little bit of the game plan. A little bit when we do get close, because we can tell, like, as an ex-winger, I can tell he's not going to jump high for a ball. He's not going to Toto. Like he's not going to contest it as good as.
It's not his game.
No, it's definitely not his game. And with the way we give away penalties now, with people running people off, it just, if you put the ball on the spot, it's just going to be too hard for him to get up and get on it. So.
And credit to Tom Dearden. In game one, you didn't put the ball on the spot. In game two, he nails that kick.
Yep.
Hammer scores first. Suddenly that moment, like there's a flow-on effect there as well. I think Queensland did well. I still think Blues were the better team, and goal kicking wise, it's a shitty way to lose a game. But Blues will be thinking, we probably could have won that if we'd slotted one or two more. But it sets up a bloody good game 3.
It certainly does. Fogs, any thoughts on Queensland?
No, well, we've won, so I don't think he changed too much. I just want to see our right side kind of tighten up a little bit more. Obviously, Toto took full advantage of that right edge of Toya and Val. I'm not sure what they really do differently, though.
Yeah.
But,
I was talking to my old man about this on the phone a couple of days after. He was like, what the fuck do you do about that Latrell's hands? And I want to ask you, Jharal, in a moment, but the 2 that they scored in game 2, like the one in game 1 was fucked, where Trell's in the air and he catches it and goes bang, bang. But even the setup, like Blues doing really well in the lead up to put Trell in those positions. The first one, they put Spencer Leniu over there as a fake jockey, and Zach Lomax came over from the right wing as a second fullback. They made a 6-on-4 shape on that left edge. Trell does the lovely hands. Like in the highlight reel, it looks the same as the other 2, but that was just excellent shape and execution. And then the second one was when Nanai was on at right 4, and that was something we spoke about, I think, in the lead up. Like his lateral movement and his inside pressure is never going to be a strong suit of his. It meant that Luai was able to get across him and turn Dearden in, which then put Trell in that position. But like, what do you do? Like you're, as a winger, Jharal, Hammer didn't really do a lot wrong in any of those actions. Like, what do you just say? Yep, too good, Latrell, and you just cop it?
I just think they might have had the jump on us on an edge, with that, because if there's
the play the ball
prior, that's probably the only thing.
That's all you can change.
You can't really change anything else.
So it's more controlling the ruck than anything else.
Yeah, because you can't really change anything else. Because if you're landing like the way you are, there's a half a second in it. Like he's so good at doing it. So, and the other way you can do it is make sure your insides are getting up as hard as you possibly can and make them play and go out to Toto earlier. They're the only 2 options. So
because it's not on Hammer to get there a metre earlier, or to, like maybe he can go for the intercept, but you don't
create a hole somewhere else.
Like what Cleary did in the first one. He's got Angus Crichton as a lead runner off his left. He's got Spencer Leniu as the jockey on his left. So he's got a block shape here. And then behind them, he's got Luai and Lomax. There's like 4 dudes on his left.
Options.
So he's got 4 options, or probably 5 because he can go tunnel ball to Trell. But you look at when Cleary releases the pass, Ruben Cotto is the right 4. His left hand is on Cleary's arm as he's passing. So Cleary has engaged, like Cotter cannot release on that pass. Like no one in the game releases that pass as late as Cleary does. And I think that's what you're saying. Like you can't really do a lot when Trell's getting the ball there. It's what you got to do in the lead up. But what New South Wales and Cleary did a few times was too good.
Yeah, it's to play the ball. I think that's the only way you really beat it. You've got to control the ruck a little bit more, and that's not going to happen in Origin. There's going to be times, and there's going to be times. And look what happened in Queensland in the second half. They were just gone. They were out on their feet, and that's the reason why they were capitalising on those tries on that side, on that edge. So, man, I thought really Stephen Crichton, and apart from his try, I thought he had a really quiet game. Like I didn't think he had with
the ball or
both. I mean, apart from that one try, he looked dangerous twice, and he scored on one of those occasions. But I don't know. He looked like he was injured in a way. I don't know.
He did have a little hammy.
Yeah, he didn't look right every time he got the ball.
Because Birdo started kicking for the Dogs the week before.
Yeah, true. He just didn't look as damaging and as aggressive as he usually plays. And I feel like he takes a lot more runs than what he did. I don't know what he took in that game.
56
like
metres.
That's nothing. So I was like, why didn't we go down that edge more? I don't know why we didn't go down there that more. more.
Yeah, from a Queensland perspective.
From a Queensland perspective.
Well, you cashed in twice. Once there, Kurt scored.
Yeah. I just feel like he was very passive in defence as well. So, I don't know, maybe I just seen that because, I'm watching on TV.
Yep.
It's a little bit different to being in the game.
He was also so dominant defensively in the first game.
Yeah, game one.
Maybe it just didn't. But yeah, you're right.
Compared to, he had a hell of a game one. Yeah.
But even numbers-wise, you look at, if you go player stats on the app, I think Queensland had 2 dudes run for over 100 metres.
And one of them was Cam Munster.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
And for the Blues, it was a handful. Edwards and To'o, Lomax are always going to give you 100 plus. But all those numbers from both teams also highlights how stop-start the game was. There wasn't a lot of game cycle, like long periods of game cycle, where the Blues could take advantage of their strengths. So.
Munster and Capel are the only ones who ran for 100 metres for us. Lindsay Collins, 96. But
I'll go and give him the ton.
Yeah. And then if we're rounding up, Val 93 as well. That kick return, surely.
We'll talk a little bit more about Origin when we discuss the multi, as Oscar squirms in his chair over there.
God.
But let's quickly, this time of year you lose sight of the top 8. So I want to just step back a little bit because I'm of the belief that the top 8 is set right now.
Yeah, this
so,
is your hot take of the year.
Yeah, it is.
Clip it up.
Clip it up, Rich.
He's been
You
practicing.
don't think this is moving at all?
No, I don't see it because the Finns have too many injuries. They're sitting 9th. Bostock done now. Manly.
Kafusi's out for 4 weeks as well.
Manly, we can talk about Turbo moving to the centres in a moment. The Dogs.
Manly missing Olakwatu at the moment too.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a big
He's gone
out.
for the 6 weeks.
He's done his shoulder, hasn't he? Yeah.
There's too much going on at the Dragons with Flano v Flano.
What about if they get Selwyn in the next couple of weeks?
Okay.
I'm just being a smart.
Are you upping my hot take?
No. I'm backing you up. Keep going. Keep going.
Look, the Knights are probably the only team there that I could make a case for as potentially being dangerous, and I feel sick saying that. Yeah.
Don't say that. I've given them wooden spoon.
Yeah, I know, but Kalen playing like Kalen did on Sunday is scary. But Fletcher Sharp done now with what is a horrific injury, and we wish him all the best.
That's a big loss.
Yeah, it doesn't sound real good at the moment.
Really hope he's all right.
All right, so I agree with everything you've said so far, but, and you know where I'm going with this.
The Rabbits.
The Sharks. So the Rabbitohs are sitting on 14 points. They've had 1 bye. If you give them both those byes,
They're in the top 8.
obviously there are other teams above. There are 2 other teams above them. The Knights and the Dolphins as well have only had 1 bye each.
Okay.
I'm kind of buying what you're saying, Ryan, but I think what South Sydney have done in the last 4 weeks, they're versus the top 4 teams.
Yep.
They started well against the Raiders and they got pantsed in Papali'i's big game. Every other game against the Warriors, the Storm, and the Bulldogs, they could have won, and they have not had a single spine player in any of those 4 games, except for Trell Mid on the weekend, who almost won it for us. So I think if South can get some troops back, I think there is a case for them to climb up. They're 2 wins outside the 8. 6 wins they're on.
That's nothing.
Well, that's the same amount of wins as Penrith, who are currently 8th.
Yeah, that's a good point. South Sydney's $7 to make the 8th from here, and your Newcastle Knights, Ryan, $11.
There you go.
I think it's going to come down to the for and against because the Knights, their 4 isn't great because they can't score points apart from on the weekend. But yeah, I'm just keen to have a general chat about some of these teams because the Cowboys are probably the first one that we need to talk about because everyone's jumping to this Todd Payton
Give me the
firing.
spoon!
Yeah.
Give me the spoon! Send it north!
No.
Send it north!
There'd be riots.
Is this it? For,
There'd be riots.
Look at him.
On Flinders Street.
They are the worst offensive team in the
do you
comp.
reckon this is it for
Negative
them?
140.
For him, sorry? Do you reckon this is it for Todd Payton?
They've got the Titans this week. I think he might get the arse if they lose to the Titans.
I think
Doomsday.
I think it's doomsday for him, unfortunately. We spoke about this at the start of the year again, saying
$17.
he's been in for a year, out for a year, and then he's missed 2 top 8s.
But is he just in a job because there's no one else that can come in and fill it?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, there's a guy called Kevy Walters who's a coach.
True.
As well.
He's pretty handy.
He's pretty handy. I mean, there's still, what's his name from overseas, who was at the
Holbrook.
BA. Yep.
Hane's up there, isn't it?
Hane's up there. But how come Josh Hane's never been given a head?
Don't know.
Should I say head job? Top job.
You got the inside word there, do you?
You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, the Payton one's a tricky one. I don't know. Maybe I need to reevaluate. Like what he did at the Wars a couple of years ago was so good, and then like you said, came into the Cows, and that first year they were
red hot.
They were so good.
Have they made? They've only made
finals. They made it that year. I think they dropped out, and then they made it the last.
And this is his
year?
5th year.
4th or 5th, yeah.
Like you've got to. They only did really, really well in that first year. They haven't. The other year they made it in. They just scraped in there. Like you sort of got to understand where do they go from here. If he doesn't get a win over the weekend on the Titans. There's another one who's Desi.
Apparently Seabold's got 2 weeks left too.
I mean,
like it's pretty crazy when you talk about like Ryan, what you were saying. This competition is so close, and there are 4 coaches
you could
on
draw
the chopping block.
And how's no one been fired yet? To be honest,
and Adam O'Brien's still just sitting pretty.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane.
another year.
Yeah.
2 years.
4 more years.
Oh my gosh.
It's I'm talking about it in the blog this week, like how tight it is and what teams it like it's so hard to tip at the moment, isn't there?
Absolutely.
I think 6 results were
I think
10
I've
or
just let my
less.
tipping go. I got the shits with it.
You just go to the autofill.
I've just gone autofill.
Betting
Honestly, I wouldn't even know. Here we go. I wouldn't even know what I got. This will be interesting.
But I think there's motive, like there's factors each week that like change. Like you can't just go, okay, this team is defending better than, or this team's defensive systems are better than this team, so therefore this team's going to win. Like, or likewise in attack. Like, look what Parramatta's attack did without Moses or Brown.
Yeah.
They scored 6 tries, admittedly against the Gold Coast, but you know, like there's motivations. Look what Penrith did without 6 Origin stars against the Warriors on the weekend.
That's another team we got to talk about. Like,
There's put a bit of
Aren't they
fatigue.
back?
Who the Wars?
No,
Or the
Penrith.
Yeah, they're
Penrith.
coming. But I think like that was a good example of in this game this year. Games are so tight. Once fatigue sets in, and once you've got a bit of momentum, if there's a chink in the opposition and you target it effectively, you're going to cash in.
Yep.
The Warriors had Luke Metcalf got an injury mid-game on the right edge. They had Moala Graham-Taufa debuting at right centre, and then Dallin Martini-Zalesniak went off halfway through right wing. So their right edge was fucked in that game. Penrith scored 3 tries, 3 different tries, but all 3 of them were designed to isolate Metcalf or Graham-Taufa in the centres. Sorensen strides through when Dallin had a busted leg. Talangi scores 1 and Milky Jenkins scored 1 because Casey stood up his opposite man. So that was a really good example. Penrith weren't perfect, but they stay in the grind long enough, wait for fatigue to take its toll, and then execute enough looks, you're going to win.
I think the scoreline flatters the Wires a bit in that game too. Just I've got the stats in front of me. Penrith dominated possession in that one, and
There you go.
is anyone bold enough to say that the Panthers can still win it all?
$13 to win the comp. They are 4th favourites all of a sudden once again. I think there was $27, I think was as low as they got to.
Wow.
And now they're ahead of the Broncos, the Warriors, the Sharks. Like,
Ahead of the Warriors.
Wow.
yeah, insane.
I think they can win it.
They just have to make the 8, and they're $1.30 to do that. And I think they
Yeah,
can.
wow.
They know what they're doing once they get to the business end.
Yeah,
so.
that's it. I think. Well, I think Jharal, you might have said it a while ago. Like they're probably the one team that you could say can win it in the modern era from outside of the top 4.
Yeah, and I just can't. I don't want them to make the top 8. I've had enough of them.
I think they will.
They're just. I've said this for the last 2 years on this podcast. I've just had enough of them. Just fuck off.
Be shit.
Stop.
It's getting to a point where, for me personally, I'm just like, I just want to see like how far they can actually go with it. Like, it's clearly one of the greatest dynasties in Australian sports history.
Yep.
In sports history.
Sports history, full stop.
In sports history, full stop. Like,
yeah.
And I would say that there'd be something in their you know, at their house, you know, that would be saying that we've got a chance to become one of the best sporting teams ever. It's up there with like the All Blacks, you know, like teams like that. That's the type of dynasty stuff you're trying to create.
If they do it this year, it's probably their best one.
Oh, easily.
This will be their best one.
Yeah.
Sitting, 17th for 3 or 4 weeks, like probably longer.
Another team that's starting to look very dangerous, and we really haven't spoken about them a lot, is the Roosters. I know I've been advocating for Tedesco to play Origin, and he's been unlucky, and he's probably, I don't know, I haven't looked at the Dally M votes for a while, but he'd have to be up there, I imagine.
They're behind closed doors.
Yeah. by this week, then they got the Tigers and the Dragons. So this is going to be a period where they really start to make some ground, and they just feel like they're a real cohesive team at the moment. Watching them, thoughts on the Roosters, boys? Are we happy to lock them in as a finals team now?
100%. They're there or thereabouts, which is what we said. Robbo needs to keep him. They've had.
This was going to be a challenging year for him. We knew that. We said that at the start.
Yeah,
and
the players they let go,
like they're finding their feet. It's round 17. This is the business end.
Yeah,
like we're in the business end of the year, and if you're sitting in that top 8 right now, like you said, Ryan, there's a good chance you play finals footy at the moment.
Yeah,
you've just got to keep the momentum going.
Yeah.
They could not have endured a worse. Well, sorry, Rabbitohs probably had a worse.
I mean, the start
injury
for
wise.
them. What did they go?
But that's what I mean. They lost so much talent over the off season before a ball was kicked. People wanted them for the spoon or for the bottom 4. And I remember I went on that big tirade, listed the 30,000 elite players Robbo's retired over his 10 years, and they've missed finals once. They just needed to be there or thereabouts. They're 7-7.
It does help.
6-7 and 1 draw.
It helps that James Tedesco's not playing Origin right now as well.
Yeah, it's a great
You know
point.
what I mean? Like he's a huge part of their success. And when you've got your captain and your leader who's pretty much been missing from that realm for the last 10 years, I think that's a big benefit for them.
Yeah.
But we got to credit what Robbo's done. Hugo Savallo. Who was he 17 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Celesi Fogarty where was he working? Was he another
Toya.
Garbo story?
Yeah,
There was some
I
mad
think
story
so,
about what
yeah.
he was doing. Like Blake
Toya.
Steep, Toya,
Robert Toya. Yeah.
Bobby T, baby.
Big Bobby
Bobby
T.
T.
Zach Docker Clay, like all of these success stories. Siwa Wong at the start of the year looked like he was destined to go to the Super League. Like he looked shot. And unfortunately now he's out for 6 weeks with an MCL, but he's kicked on this year. Like what Robbo's done with this team to have them where they are now is outstanding, given that they haven't had their halfback all season. Connor Watson's been in and out.
Radley's had a million concussions.
Rads, keeps going down too. They've missed Nat Butcher, who's probably their most experienced middle now that Lindsay Collins is there. But
He's pretty handy.
Well, they've got
he
to
goes
buy.
right.
They've got to buy. Then they go Tigers, Dragons,
and then Sharks.
and Sharks.
That's
They've got a tough
That's
one.
eight-
home
that
after
could be
that,
8
but-
points
They
there.
have
Yeah.
a tough. Oh yeah,
But the next month is look out. Like they could be top
they
4 before you know
it's
it.
a big game to finish it all.
So they finished with South, Storm 26, Eels 25, Dogs 24, Dolphins 23. Yeah, I mean, it's a tough run. They got Storm twice in the last 8 weeks.
Yep.
So do the Broncos. So do we.
I think Robbo would be in Coach of the Year talk if it wasn't for like what Sticky's doing at Canberra. Like he probably
Yep.
would have to be the favourite. I
Or
think.
Serrato's probably a good shout, just quietly.
Both of them. Yeah. Before we have a break, we got to talk Broncos. It's just what we do on the show.
Yeah.
Fogs at it. Did you watch that game?
No, I was out and about, but I was following it along, and I kind of gave up on it.
I did watch
about
that game.
40 minutes in.
I did watch that game, and it was hard to watch the first. Our edges just got targeted. We were not defending well on our edges, and I tell you what, if we bring that energy into this weekend, the Warriors will rip us apart.
Yep.
But we fought back, and it's never. I think the Sharks. I don't think the Sharks have been playing amazingly either. Like they've been playing terrible, but we capitalised on the second half, and I think I've been saying this at the start of the year. I would love to see the Broncos put 2 halves together at some stage. They've been winning games with one half of footy, and it's mostly been the second half. So it's going to be interesting to see where they are, to back in. And we've got some hard games coming up right now. The next 2 weeks, we're the Warriors and the Bulldogs. Warriors at home this weekend, the Bulldogs away. So
Belmore not been good to us lately, but I was just really blown away with their resilience. Like they could have very easily thrown the towel in that second half. We've seen it happen this year already. So to come back against the Sharkies, huge.
Yep.
It was the first time this year. I know he's been hurt, but first time Walshy's really stood up as a leader.
It just
you're
looked
saying.
threatening, did he? Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't need to do. I think when we think about him standing up, everyone's always wanting him to throw that ball. Just run the ball. Just run it. Just be in the right space at the right time, and it just showed on that sort of that last try to Gemmett that he injected himself at the right time.
When he's on, he's one of the best players in the league, and it's not close. I just want to see it way more consistently.
Big couple of weeks coming up. We'll take a quick break, boys, and then we'll come back and talk about this multi. You're listening to NRL Unpopular Opinions. Boys, we're about to jump into the multi, but let's talk about the Origin pot last Wednesday night because stressful times for the four of us. The first time we've ever done one.
Well, not really.
Mucking around with other people's money.
Yeah, it was a nice change. We came out, I guess you can say we came out on top.
we came out up.
We did come
We're in
on
the
top.
green, baby.
We made a profit for the punters.
Some good bets. We had Toto, first try scorer. Jharal, I think you had money anytime. Hammer anytime.
Hammer, I'd hammer.
Hammer anytime.
I had money.
Someone had money, yep.
Yep.
I'll tell you what we had.
I had Critter anytime.
I also had a multi in mind that it was Val to score 4, Hammer to score anytime, and Queensland to win.
So that
came
lob's
from
nice.
Crichton.
I was going to, because
Yeah.
we come close to cashing in big. We had Angus Crichton first.
Yeah.
If he'd
Yeah.
fallen on that grubber, that would have paid 3 times as much as Tops.
Yeah,
good
true.
point.
But we had both Crichtons.
Yep.
Queensland 1 to 12. We also hit, and then Jharal, you had Queensland Val 4+ points. Hammer. Walked away with a bit extra money for the punters.
Yes, can't complain with
beautiful.
that. And we went very close to hitting our pod multi as well.
Yeah.
So
close. Didn't we?
I took the over.
Not close enough.
Fogs, you took Val 6+. Jharal, you had the hammer anytime. And Oscar.
Shooting blanks, baby. Toyer or Trell to score.
That hurts.
I think they both have assists. Probably.
Yep.
Yes, they did.
That feels good to me.
I just didn't feel like it was going to be a centres night.
I wanna die.
So the records as it stands, 12-5 for my good self. Jharal, you're back above 500, mate. 9 and 8.
Well done.
Bro, I'm just happy for you, eh?
No, you're not.
All right, we gotta lift each other up.
No, you're not.
Boys up and boys.
Fogs, you're not far behind. You're 8 and 9, and then Oscar 6 and 11.
No.
Dear, you're the expert.
Well, you guys call me that, not me.
Oh my gosh, no.
Still, how many rounds have we got left? Like
yeah.
10?
Too many. Too
Yeah,
many.
10. Fair.
Oh, we got more.
10, exactly 10.
Well, 10 rounds plus
Plus
4.
finals.
So I can still
14.
finish up. I can finish 16 and 11.
Yeah.
So 14, we got 14 rounds left. So you could fight back.
Someone call the bad beat police.
Stiff.
My luck's changing. I
I
can
am.
feel it in the wind.
Are you talking about me?
Yeah.
I'm stiff.
This week, I'm going to go the under between Newcastle and the Raiders. Going to be pretty wet in Newcastle, looking at the forecast. 44.5 points. Fletcher Sharp, as we've spoken about, out for Newcastle. I think that's pretty significant.
Massive. He's scoring every other week for him.
Yeah. We got 2 plays in the South Sydney Dolphins game.
Yes, I'm gonna go 48.5 total points unders. I'm gonna go that and $1.90.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'll take Souths to cover.
Plus 4.5.
Minus 4.5.
Plus 4.5.
Yeah, give me minus 4.5. Let's go.
Fogs, you can bring us home.
Sunday afternoon, Storm v Sharks at Amy Park. I think Storm play their best footy on a Sunday arvo at home.
Yep.
So give me Melbourne to cover. I'll probably be going 13+ on my personals there.
Oh, well, why didn't you do that with us?
Because I've got a bloody tattoo on the line. Now it's not the
No,
time
you
to
don't.
get complacent.
Let's be honest. No, you don't. I do.
It'd be just Reggie with a cease and desist, I reckon.
We might get Jack to do it for us,
Oh,
given
God.
his handiwork with Fogs'
Or
hair.
if you get Lomax to do it, he might just miss your arm completely.
Oh, that's.
Boom!
Oh, man. South
Oh, God, it's a-
Blues and Rabbitohs both lost on goal kicking last week for me. Fuck.
$12.09 for this.
Oh,
one.
that's
So-
not bad.
Do you know what? I'm getting on this.
Yes.
I like it a lot. and
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
like
get
it.
on.
I like this
I've
one.
heard that
too.
before.
Nah, yeah, but I really mean it this time. I really mean it.
We need to get another one. Have we only up one this year?
One, yeah.
We need another one.
2 years.
This is going to pay.
Stop saying that.
We need another one.
This is going to pay. I can feel it.
We're due.
It's a really good bet.
Bloody due. Before we get out of here, let's talk about AJ, who's probably going to break the try scoring record.
Where's he? 3 away?
No, he needs 6.
Oh, 6.
Sorry, 7. I think he needs 6 or 7.
I think it's 7 to
7 to
take the
eclipse it?
record.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 6
7.
to tie it up.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, fuck it.
Interesting.
He's back.
He's so, I mean, thank God Latrell Mitchell is back in the side to keep feeding him points.
Jeez, his long balls have been amazing. His cut-out passes have been really good.
I glazed too much on Trell. We just talked about his soft hands, but that cutout pass
Yeah.
is ridiculous. But I don't want to talk about Trell. I want to talk about Alex. He does
Would be
score
the
a lot
coolest
of
thing
tries.
ever for him to watch him break that record.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I guess
He
it's
scores
just-
a lot of tries where he just catches and puts down. But I want to ask Jharal you this. Sorry, Fogs.
No. It's fine.
One of the tries he scored on the weekend against Melbourne, where he shot out of the line in yardage and took an intercept. We see wingers take some pretty. I think AKP took one to the house against the Eels on Sunday afternoon, defending on his own line, because you don't have to get back the 10 metres
Yep.
and then the other 5 metres to get up over the advantage line. You're set. You know that basically you don't have the room in behind to recover if they do beat you. So it's an all or nothing play, right? For Alex to do that on South's 40-metre line, Melbourne were coming out of trouble. Harry Grant gets 2 quick play the balls in a row, darts out down the short side, and they put it through the hands, and Johnston comes out of nowhere and takes it. I wanted to ask you, Jharal, have you ever scored a try or taken an intercept like that, or can you just speak to how that decision that Alex has to make, like miles before the ball even comes down that channel, for him to be confident enough to make that play?
I would say the way I would think of that is you're trying to land on a man first. That's what your thought process is. Like, everyone's gone up to go jam because they've taken a short side, and we know how good Jerome Hughes is throwing that short long ball. So he's got to make a decision if he's going to land on the centre or the winger there, and to make that, because it's just so hard. And once you get in front of your inside man, it's game over. Like, if you don't make the right decision, they're going through. So it is very hard to make those decisions. And sometimes as a winger, you're not even sure if you're making the right one. You're just going to shut down the play, and then you look, and that split second you go, well, geez, the ball's in my hand, and you're gone. By the time anyone could you can even think about it, it's in your hand and you're out of there. And they're the hardest ones. The short side ones are the hardest ones to take, but they're the nicest ones, because it is an all or nothing play. And for him to get his 4th on that was the 4th?
Yeah, third or fourth.
Third or fourth. I mean, it was nice to watch, and there was no one catching him once he'd gone through. And look, it hasn't been the first time he's done that over the years. He's done that numerous times. So, you know, he's a veteran at it. He's a veteran at it. So it's not something that you don't know what you're doing. You're trying to shut down a play, and then it just unfolds for you. And I really hope he breaks the record. Do you reckon he's got another year in him, like with injuries and everything?
Man, I kind of like, this is the Rabbitoh fairy tale in me wants him to get it this year and then retire.
Can I ask where you want him to break the record? Because I'm just looking at the schedule.
We just looked at it. It should be
round
last round against the Roosters.
Against the Chooks.
They've got 2 games at Suncorp still to play, and he tends to score.
I mean, it'd be nice
there.
for you if it did happen at Suncorp, because you could be there. You could be there. But wouldn't it be nice to do it against a rival?
It'd be sick. Yeah.
Like the Roosters, wouldn't it? Like that rivalry is huge. For him to be able to do it against in the local derby would be massive.
Friday night too.
If I was doing it anywhere against any team, I'd probably want to do it against the Cowboys.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, because it's just a rivalry that is so big, and you know. Yeah, it's a good one. You always have it on your little brother.
Yeah,
I love the campaign that they've got going at the moment for people to storm the field when he
like
actually
that
breaks
campaign
it.
I started?
Like the what's his name, Buddy Franklin? When he kicked
1,000 goals,
1,000. Everyone runs on the field.
Why not though?
Yeah, that's it.
And why aren't the NRL marketing this chase down?
Why
more?
not?
Yeah,
Like, mate,
It's never going to happen again.
If he doesn't do
like,
it,
hey guys, buy, like, we should be able to be buying 3-game kind of moving bracket tickets, so you can go, fuck yeah, I can go round 20, 21 or 22, I can spend X amount of money and I'm covered. I can get to these 3 games. Because
no one else is going to do it. No one else is going to catch it in. I don't think in our
maybe
lifetime.
ever.
Yeah.
Maybe
ever.
Yeah, true. It's very true.
That's
so good.
Punters were condoning storming the field of a rugby league game.
The security guards.
Yeah, do it.
Storm over the top of them.
Take your clothes off.
Whoa, Jesus!
Dicks out for AJ here.
And bring back Reggie Rabbit.
Yeah.
All right, boys. That might do us for this week. Good little show. We'll be back. We got 2 weeks before Origin, don't we?
I think so.
We got 1 week before.
The selections.
selections. We've also got 1 week before the NRLW is back.
Oh, it is.
Next week. So Thursday night next week, the girls will be back on. So we'll do a little bit of content.
The Brisbane Broncos are looking hot to trot.
Oh, get on them.
They are looking hot to trot. I've been around, been able to watch, a lot of training. They're looking good. I think it's got to be their year.
It was their year last year too, and they choked in the semis.
That's what I said. That's what I'm saying. It's got to be this year. Be careful where you go with that.
Yeah, sorry, I've already backed him, so I'll probably put the fucking curse on him. Sorry, Scotty Prince.
Oh dear. Thank you, Oscar. Thank you, Jharal. Thank you,
gentlemen.
You're welcome, right?
Chee-hoo.
What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website